is Tina and Bradley Watson.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, some of y'all are saying, look at her, and then some of them are saying, who in the world? Never know, never know.
That's right.
They never know who they're going to see
Well,
over that
hey.
corner.
Bless them.
Bradley is running for North Tippa Constable.
Yes, ma'am. North Ave.
Now, I had to look up on Facebook what a constable was one time. I think I knew it a long time ago. I think
Yeah.
I forgot.
That's all right.
But let's learn a little about you. Where did you grow up?
Miss Jeter, first I want to say thank you.
Well, I appreciate you
for having
coming.
us and me and my wife Tina on air. It's an honor. I have born and raised in Collegiate. Some call it Chalabete. Some may not know where it's at, but I was born and raised in Collegiate all my life. I live on my granddaddy's and grandmother's home place, Ernest and Hazel Wilbanks. I live right there. They call it the Hudson Road, Collegiate School, and then there's a little paved road. I live down that road, been there all my life, and just a little Mayberry, honestly, just a little
That's
Mayberry.
great. You got roots in Tippa
Yes,
County.
absolutely.
Yes.
All my life here in
Yes.
Tippa. Yes, ma'am.
You know, that
Yes,
makes
ma'am.
a difference.
It does. It does. I'm excited to be able to hopefully serve the community in this great county.
And your parents,
Yeah,
your
my-
grandparents were Wilbanks.
Yes, my granddaddy, which is my mother's parents was Ernest and Hazel Wilbanks. Of course, she was a Barnes before she married. And then my dad is Grady Watson, and then my mother is Tommy Watson. So she's the only one left out of the siblings that she had, you know. But I love my mom and daddy. I wouldn't be who I am if
You
it
know
wasn't
Fred
for me.
and Betty?
Fred and Betty Wilbanks?
Yeah.
Yeah, they go to my church sometimes.
Well,
yes.
I'm not a bit surprised.
Yeah.
Them
Yeah,
folks
when-
is good folks.
When you're Wilbanks, you're kin to everybody, I think. So.
Well, Fred and Betty's good folks.
They
They've been
are.
on radio for years.
Yes, yeah, they
At
come.
Walnut.
They come to church, and when they can.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Great people. Great
When
people.
my second husband passed away, I spent a lot of time with Fred and Betty, and they
Right.
helped me tremendously.
Yes, great, sweet
They
people.
helped me tremendously.
I call them old soldiers of the cross.
That they are.
They carried
That they
they
are.
carried the cross, and like I said, just generations of preachers and stuff. And even my uncle, a lot of people. Well, my granddaddy's Ernest's half brother or brother is of course the Wilbanks is in Arkansas, but it was Uncle Noe Wilbanks. Noe Wilbanks is the one who brought the apostolic Pentecostal movement down down this area, and he was just old stories. I know this has not a lot to do, but he was be sitting at his table eating, and people would throw rocks at his house and try to burn things just because they didn't want the movement of God down this area.
Yeah.
But I've got a lot of roots, and now my first cousin, Alan Gates, is the pastor of that church that my uncle, my great uncle has founded there in Osceola, Arkansas.
neat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember my first husband, James. We lived in Alcorn County
Yeah,
back then. I mean, we're talking 100 years ago.
Yeah.
We lived in Alcorn County, and I heard about her. I hadn't been saved long, and I heard about this revival, and people were getting Holy Ghost at this
Oh,
block
absolutely.
church over in Tippa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I begged him to let me go.
Yeah.
And no, that people shooting people down there.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I don't know that they were, but he thought that.
Right.
And he wouldn't let me go.
Well,
but I
bless us.
remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's.
they call it the block church.
They do. It's still there. Matter of fact, that's where my grandparents are buried.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's called Community Pentecostal Church now. Of course, the late Randall Flake was the pastor, and of that church. Of course, he's dead and gone. Great man of God. Had opportunity to sit under him a few years, and just a great man of God. But my granddaddy, they're buried there. And that's not too far from my house. Probably, I say 4 miles, probably 3 miles. Not too far. What do you think, Tina? About
Yeah,
3 or
it's
4?
not that far at
Not
all.
far at all.
That's neat.
Yeah,
That's
a
neat.
lot of heritage.
That's definitely roots in Tennessee.
Lot of heritage,
Yes,
lot
of
of
course you're
heritage.
married to Tina.
Yes.
Y'all have children?
We do. We have 3 little girls,
Oh,
Yeah.
how old are they?
11, 13, and 16.
Yeah.
Oh, me.
Yeah. She just got her license yesterday,
Oh,
so
me.
Temple County, watch out. Yeah, watch out. No, I'm
I
just kidding.
remember them days. If one of them is coming, the other one's going.
Oh,
Yeah.
you ain't joking.
Something
Man,
with the
it's-
school
All
all
the
the
time.
time.
They play
So,
ball.
activities.
Yes, Annalise goes to want it. Of course, she plays basketball and there and tennis. And then, of course, my Cleveland only goes to the 8th grade. So our middle girl will be graduating from Cleveland here in May, so she'll go to want it. Of course, she's very active in horses and matter of fact, when we left, she was watching 8 Seconds.
Yep.
So Lane
Oh,
Frost, you know, so she's a country girl. She's just a
great.
country girl. But and my baby girl, she's got a mind of her own. She just walks to the beat of her own drum. So she keeps us on our toes. I'll tell you that.
I
Yeah.
bet. And you know, it's always the baby.
Oh, absolutely.
It's always the
Yeah,
youngest one.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know, if that's the youngest one, we're older and our nerves are worse.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's
I'm telling you that I had
yes.
a boy. Was my last one was a boy, and
Yeah.
he made me realize I didn't want no more kids.
hey,
I was
we're
through.
going
I
to
was
try to adopt
finished.
one day.
I was finished.
Well, I couldn't buy a boy to save my life. So I told Tina that one day that we're going to try to adopt a baby, like a baby boy, you know, somebody, because there's so many kids out there that
It is.
just don't have, you know, mothers that give them up. And which I got a best friend in the ministry, Jason Avant, who did the same thing that I want to do. So
And you want to start over with diapers? Yeah, he
yeah,
does.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
the one. No, it's
yeah,
you.
yeah. Well, you know, just have somebody, you know.
Men don't do that. It's you.
Yeah, well,
the bottles and diapers and midnight
yeah.
feedings.
Well,
Well,
I
I got my last and all that. I never did.
man, I
I'm
tell you, I
done.
don't
I'm
miss
done.
those early morning things.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, but
That's
that's our plans. If the Lord's will, you know, everything we do, we pray. If it's the Lord's will, let
That's
it be
right.
done. So, but
That's right.
yeah.
I just thinking how blessed I am. All mine are grown.
Well, you know,
Ours are pretty self-sufficient, right?
Oh,
yeah.
that's good.
And I told my oldest when she's at that age now.
Oh, do you know how them girls would spoil that baby?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh no,
Absolutely. I tell you.
burn that child.
Yeah,
Oh, could
it's
you imagine?
that's our plans. That's if, you know, God sees fit. You know, that's just.
Well, I'll pray for you.
Yeah, thank you. I need. I
You
need
do it and I'll pray.
Well, that's right. You may have
Yeah.
to babysit sometimes. We'll
no,
put
no,
him here
no,
on
I'm
TV.
just gonna pray. Just pray.
Yeah, he'll keep you entertained here on TV here.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you that is a that's a life changing
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. It is.
It really is.
It is.
Not only your lives, but your girls' lives.
Yeah, we've talked to the girls about it, and they're all on board.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Of
they-
course,
they-
Mama's gonna do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, Mama's doing the
Yeah,
work.
yeah. I guess gotta have somebody. I'm outnumbered, you know. I gotta have
That's
somebody.
right.
that's gonna-
That's true. That's true. I actually had my girls up in school and wanted a boy.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we had one more, and he was a boy. Thank God we didn't try to have to do 6 or 7.
That's right. I understand. I
And
understand.
he was the baby, and everybody learned him. And,
Yeah. That's how Chloe, our middle one,
and
is.
that broke me from ever wanting another one.
Yeah. Well, Chloe is our tomboy now. I'm a fisherman. I bass fish, and I have a little small business. I make fishing lures on the side, and so she is going to one day take over the little business. They're making little, fishing lures, plastic and stuff. But she's been my little tomboy.
I had one, my oldest girl. My farthest recollection is her and her dad under a car hood.
Yeah. That's,
She lived in Greece.
yeah.
She was his little, because he didn't have a boy.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
even after Alan was born,
Yeah.
everywhere her daddy went,
Yes.
she was there.
Yeah.
She was there.
Yes, ma'am.
And she was Daddy's baby. That was it.
Yeah, Chloe
I
helps
mean,
me, a lot.
She just thought that man did no wrong.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It didn't matter. And she was a peaceful person.
Right.
She would make peace. If me and him would argue, she's now, Mama, it don't matter.
That's
It's
Chloe.
okay, Mama.
That's Chloe's a 19.
The
Yes,
most
it is.
loving, forgiving person I've ever met.
Yeah, Chloe's same way.
I mean, even when she got grown.
Yeah, big-hearted.
Yeah, she was.
That's
She's
how our
always
Chloe
was.
is.
Always was.
I give her money, Miss Jeter. Like at Cleveland, they have Harvest Festival.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have it for a whole week, and this is how big-hearted our Chloe is. Now, my other two are tender-hearted, but Chloe is the main. I would give her, $5-6 a day if I could, and she would come home and won't have nothing.
Gave it away.
Gave it away.
That's Rosie.
And she said, well, Daddy, she said, I asked her how much money she had left. Like, well, Daddy, so-and-so didn't have no money. Of course, it breaks my heart. I'm trying not to cry
Yeah.
on TV here, but I'm a big baby sometimes. But,
Me too.
I just, I'm proud that I'm able to raise, that we're able to raise kids.
My daughter taught herself to sew.
Yeah.
She really wasn't very good at it, but she
Yeah.
taught herself to
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
And I talked to her on the telephone. We sewed on the phone.
Yeah.
I sew.
Yeah.
And really,
does.
she wasn't that good.
Yeah.
She'd pay $2.50 a yard for material, and she'd make these little. She worked in a factory,
Yeah.
and she'd make these little summer dresses.
Yeah.
Oh, Mom, I've got orders. You got to come help me. So I'd take my portable machine over there, and we'd sew together.
Yeah.
And she sold them for $2.50 each.
Yeah. Entrepreneur.
It didn't even.
She
It
didn't
didn't
make
even
anything.
cover her
Right.
cost.
Right. Yeah.
She put these fancy little buttons and
Bless her heart.
bows and stuff on them, ribbons,
Yeah.
but she'd sell them for $2.50. And if you gave her a sad story, she gave them to you.
Wow.
I
That's
mean,
right.
this, she just.
Yeah.
I said, Rose, you're not making anything. She said, oh, Mom, I don't care.
I'd rather
I
give it
don't care.
away.
These are my friends.
Yeah.
And
Ain't
no,
that something?
she did that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Couple of
Ain't that
years.
something?
It's just something she wanted to do. She was always doing something for somebody.
Yeah, and it makes you feel good as a parent knowing that
And she was
you've
very
raised-
loving, very
Sure.
forgiving.
Yeah. We need
She
more of
passed
that.
away after Christmas.
Oh,
She was
no.
in a car wreck.
This year.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
But we have got plumb off track.
That's all right. Hey,
You are running for North Tippy Constable.
North half. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Tell us how you're qualified.
Well,
What do you have to do to qualify?
far as constable, if I have time, I can kind of tell you the backstory of why I want to run. I know that may be a question that you may
Yeah,
have
go
later.
ahead.
Yeah. And when I was around 10 years old, my sister married this young man who, at the time, we thought that he hung the moon. But my mother has, I believe, gifts. My mother had the gift of discernment,
Yes.
knowing that there's something wasn't right about this man. Well, when I was 10 years old, this man just one day started going ballistic and just started beating my sister. She lived, which that would be somebody that you need to get. She has a tremendous testimony about how she got out of that. Long story short, him and my dad had so many altercations, and he had a pistol down my sister's throat. But anyway, every time that he would beat her up, my family was friends with Mr. Dick Coster. He was the North Half Constable
Yeah.
of Tippah County. And every time I can remember as 10 years old, Mr. Robert would, bless his heart, would, fight, my sister. And then here Mr. Dick would come and to my sister's rescue. And I always said, I want to be like Mr. Dick Coster. And so as I grew up, and my dad, they used to have a little area in the BP at Walnut before it burnt down, and my daddy would take me. My daddy's a coffee drinker. He would take me as a little boy, and I would sit there with Mr. Dick and Mr. Joe Macmillan and all these older guys, and I would sit there and I would just admire Mr. Dick because he was somebody that always came to help. And I told my daddy a long time ago, and I even told my uncle, and I wish my uncle was here to see this, but I said, I'm running for that position one day. And so that's how I come into this. But once again, Ms. Jeter, we don't do nothing unless God gives us the okay in the spirit. And but the constable, qualifications, of course, if you do win, they'll send you to Jackson for a few seminars and stuff like that, like they do everything else in Tippah County. But far as this position, Miss Jeter, and me going around and knocking on doors and seeing people that I have met people in the last month and a half that I've never met before in my life.
Yeah. Oh,
I've
yeah.
met people also that I haven't seen in years. But I've also met people, just like yesterday, I've had opportunities to lay my hands and pray on people. Man, yesterday has cancer. I'm like,
Yes.
you don't have to.
Yes.
I said, I'm not going to pray for you for a vote. I said, I'm praying for you because I feel led to pray for you. So I'm a winner either way.
Yeah. You're right.
Okay? If
You're
my
right.
opponent were to beat me, that's God's will. But if I were to win, that's God's will. So I'm a winner either way. But far as constable, that's something, like I said, Mr. Dick Coster has always influenced my life, and he's dead and gone now. But he's always been somebody that influenced me, and I hope I didn't jump ahead of you there.
No, I was looking at something.
But far as constable, like I said, I'm just going to be honest. There are going to be some knuckleheads that you can't help. And it's just like pastoring, it's like preaching.
It is.
You can preach till you're blue in the face. You can pastor, but you can only pastor those that wants to be pastored.
That's right.
And you can only help those that wants help. And if I'm able to win this position in North Tippah, I've made it a point unto my family and unto the Lord. I told the Lord that if I have to take, there's going to be sometimes you're going to have to take somebody to the jail. I mean, that's part of the job. But Sister Jeter, if they're hungry, I'm stopping and I'm feeding them before they go to that jail. And also, I made this point unto God that before they go in, we will have a word of prayer. That way, when they get out of those doors of that jail, they can say, that young man prayed for me. That he tried to help me. So that's pretty much far as qualifications of the constable. And I'm trying not to go down a rabbit hole here, but
No, you're good.
that's
You're good.
that's where that's something that I've always desired to do. Of course, I've heard it all. You can't be a preacher, and I'm like, listen, guys.
Why can't you?
Well, that's what I told him. This guy, he messaged me and he said, well, I don't think a preacher ought to be. And I looked at him. Well, I messaged him back and I said, show me in the Bible where Jesus ever stood behind a pulpit. And he said, well, he didn't. I said, what did Jesus do? He went in and out of these cities. A lot of these cities, the people didn't want him there.
That's true.
But when he left, he had a trail of his presence behind him. Some that followed, some that left behind. So, like I said, it don't have to. I believe in the position. I believe from the White House to the courthouse. I believe it ought to be men of God trying to lead our country. And I'm trying not to be critical when I say this, but if we want God back in America, we've got to have God from the courthouse to the White House.
That's right.
And I'm being honest, but
That's true.
that's as far as qualifications. Like I said, they'll just take us and take you to Jackson, I believe, and
They'll make you qualify.
they'll make yes, ma'am, yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
one way or the other, they'll make
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
You'll learn if you don't want to. You'll
I'm
learn.
in it. I'm in it for the long haul. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I googled constable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did.
Mr.
And
Google,
in
he's
the
never
USA, it's different than it is in England.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
A constable may be an official responsible for serving papers,
Right. Right.
such as subpoenas and
Yes.
summons,
Mm-hmm.
for people to appear in court.
Right.
Well, I thought about it. Sometimes folks don't want to go to court.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes they don't want that paper. In fact, I know a guy that went to serve a subpoena, and the fellow that lived there he was looking for was at work. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he had cameras up,
Yeah.
and he could see on his cell phone. And he actually called his neighbor, who went over and talked to him when he found out what he was doing there.
Right. Right.
He called the law.
Oh wow.
Said somebody was, messing around his
Yeah.
house. So here comes a squad car.
Yeah. Oh me. Was it jokes on him? I guess. Yeah.
What it amounted to was that
Yeah.
they had to pay twice to have that subpoena served.
Right. Right.
Because every time that you leave, that's how you make your money, is the
Right,
papers
right.
that you serve.
That's right. That's exactly. Right.
And
Exactly right.
he had to go out there twice
Yeah.
to serve that
Bless his
subpoena.
heart.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
crazy. Now the one that sent them, that's bless their heart.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been crazy for sure.
But now some people are a little more forceful than him.
Right,
What are
right.
you gonna do if you get out there and some guy, is violent?
Yeah, that's been a question. Matter of fact, one of my cousins called me the other day on the phone, and she asked me the same question. And this is what I told her. Listen, I'm a civil guy. I'm going to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But if I don't have much wisdom, but my wife may agree there, but I've got enough wisdom to know that if I can't be civil, I'm just going to call, the deputies.
Yes.
Like, hey, which, like I said, I've got family members that is on the sheriff's office. Matter of fact, these young men, I've got two, matter of fact, that my family and I've always looked up to them, and I'll just call them. Hey, listen, you got a knucklehead out here. Hey, I'm not going to do anything. This is.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean.
It's something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I went to one house the other day, and this guy said, I'm trying to get my neighbor to vote for you. And I said, well, I sure appreciate that. And he said, but my neighbor said he ain't going to vote for you. I said, well, that's fine. I said, that's his opinion. He said, you know why? He said, he's afraid you'll kill somebody, shoot somebody. I shook my head. I'm like, why would I want to kill somebody? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is I've heard it all. I'm telling you, in this, I've heard it all. I've heard it all. And
You don't look very violent to me.
no, Lord, no. If
I'm worried
can't-
about somebody killing you.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. If I can't handle it civil, I'm just gonna call the deputies. Like, hey, you got this guy here. I ain't worried about losing the money. Because once again, I believe that God does give
I
us
think
sense.
you get paid whether you get it.
Well, I don't even know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Somebody asked me, what do you
It
make?
depends. It depends on the situation.
Right,
But I think
right.
usually you get paid.
That's right. And somebody asked me today, they said, what does a consul make a year? I said, I have no idea. They said, so you're running for a
Depending
position?
on how many papers
Yeah, I
that
said,
you.
I'm running for an office, don't even know what to make. I'm just running because I want to help somebody.
Wanna
You know
do
what
it,
I'm saying?
wanna do it.
Yes, ma'am.
One thing you have to realize, the constable is just the messenger.
That's right. Just like a preacher.
You didn't
Yeah.
make them do it.
No,
You didn't make them get in trouble.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And just take the papers.
Right.
And if you're determined not to go to court, just don't show up.
Yeah, that's right. Then if you don't go to
Yeah,
court,
don't
it'll
shoot the
be.
messenger.
Yeah, well, it'll
Worry
be.
about my messenger over
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's right. Well,
Trust me, I know.
if you don't
Yeah.
go to court, they call it, LTA, which failure to appear.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about it is, when people don't go to court, it's like a snowball. It's just
right.
going to keep building and building
You're
and
right.
building. And if
You're
they
right.
got a warrant for their arrest, failure to appear, if they're in California and they run a stop sign and they hand them
Ship
their
'em back.
license,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, they will.
So, it's better this is how I believe, and I tell my kids this and she can bounce. It's better to clean up spilt milk when it happens
That's right.
than let it set.
Yep.
That's right.
I mean, honestly.
Absolutely right.
So it's better just go ahead, get it taken care of, and let's, just go down there, or I call, constable, Lord, forbid, but I can handle it, I believe I can. I really do.
Just have to be level-headed.
Oh,
Remember, I'm
absolutely.
just the
Absolutely.
messenger.
Well, that's right.
Right.
I've got a family I got to go back home to.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Nobody, don't shoot the messenger.
Don't shoot the messenger.
That's right.
That'll preach there. Absolutely. That'll
Absolutely.
preach. Yes, ma'am.
You can also be called on, and it's very rare in Tubb County, but you could be called on to staff the court for like a bailiff,
Yeah, that's
if everybody's sick.
that's right.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I think a constable is a bailiff of the court too. Pretty much reads the, him and the judge works hand in hand. Pretty much, they, go when there is, jury duty, or say they got what do you call it? Court cases. Pretty much, they'll stand there, read the names for the judge, and be able to, be there
Does
for
a
that.
constable give out traffic tickets?
I'm going to be honest. I've heard they can,
I think they can.
but here, and this is why I don't think I would ever do that. Is because a constable is elected, okay, by the people. These, now, don't get me wrong, if I'm out, say Faulkner area, and I see somebody, doing something they shouldn't, I'm going to call it in, like, hey, listen, y'all need to go out here, because even though I have, a constable may have the jurisdiction to write tickets, but I don't want the law enforcement officers to feel like I'm over them.
Yeah.
Because they went for 12 weeks of pure Hades.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're training.
Their trained is rough.
Yes.
Where I'm only going for classes. So I don't ever want to step over my boundaries.
Yeah, they're definitely better trained.
Right. And so I just don't. And somebody asked me that, and I'm like, man, I don't feel like even though you can.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like I'm a guy that I don't want to step over a boundary that I know I shouldn't be over, if that makes sense.
I'd rather be the messenger than the one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yes, ma'am.
Even though that, well, there's a lot of things I can do that I don't.
Right.
I choose not to. Years ago, people looked at a lawman and they had respect.
Yeah, there's no respect no more.
Why?
Well, because I believe there is bad apples in every case. I think some people just does it for the authority. I believe it's just like once again, tied into ministry. If you don't have a heart for ministry, you don't need to be in it.
That's true.
And if you don't have a heart to love on people, and I wrote something down here, and if serving is below you, then leadership is beyond you. You can't be in leadership from the courthouse to the White House, even ministry. You can't lead in leadership if you can't lead.
That's right.
That's why the Bible says, the blind leadeth the blind. They're going to both fall in the ditch.
That's right.
So, that's where I believe that, I believe that's where God can use in that area, So, but leadership and you're going to have some law officers that, like I said, that just want the authority. And I'm going to be honest with you. I may get crucified when I say this. There's just some that just wants the badge.
Yeah.
But there are some that wants to.
Kind of goes to their head.
Yeah, they want to. There are some. Not saying everybody. Please don't take me wrong when I say this. Like I said, I've got family that's in law enforcement, and they're good at what they do. But they just don't want. They're just some that don't let it go through their head. And you also have to also know too, is a lot of these times, you take the murder of the young man in Memphis a few weeks ago. I believe that was unlawful. The young man, he might have had, but I think what come to find out, the young man was dating one of the officer that helped kill him, beat him's ex-girlfriend or wife or something. So this officer was taking it out on this young man while he was in uniform. And you don't do that. You don't do that. That's
No,
he's the type of people that makes people not respect cops.
I think so
For law
too. I
enforcement.
think a lot of it is from the media.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I'm on
Yeah.
TV all the time, but a lot of it comes through
Oh,
TV.
absolutely.
Yes,
Even
it
my
does.
best friend is a Mississippi Highway Patrol. And matter of fact, I have to give him credit because he's, we work out together, and he's the one who kind of pushed me into, not say push me in it, but kind of patted me on the back. Encouraged me. That's a better word. Encouraged me to run for this position too, because anytime you start doing something, you feel like, well, am I good enough?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I?
Can I really get?
Can I really? Yeah. Can I really get this? So, but I have to give him credit too. Of course, my wife, bless her heart, she deals with a lot with me at home and then in the ministry too. But God's been so good to us.
He has.
So good to us.
Anything you go into, you
Oh,
go into it together.
as a family.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And if you don't,
Absolutely.
it won't work.
No, it's not
No
gonna
matter
work.
what
Nah.
it is.
You ain't never been whipped. You've been whipped by God.
That's right. They shoot cops.
Yep.
We
Yep.
had one shot here several years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's an eye opener.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And you still want to be a constable.
Yeah, my wife, matter of fact, these questions are great. These questions are great. Matter of fact, everybody's already answered this, approached me with this. Some people may laugh at me, but if I am able to serve as the next North Half Constable, I'm going to wear a bulletproof vest. I'm not going to drive around in it,
I definitely would.
but, I probably, for sure, if, Tipper County is a small, county, even though it's small, but it's big, you would kind of know in your mind what kind of guy you're finna deal with.
Yeah,
I think so.
probably so.
And if, and I'm a cover guy too. Before I go do anything spiritually, I got coverings. Okay, I've got men of God in my life that I trust that gives me covering. So with the constable, if I'm able to win, I'm going to call some of my cousins that's in law enforcement. Hey, listen, what about this guy here? But I may be the first constable, but I wear a vest. I mean.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. I mean, like I said, I told my wife the other day, if I've come in contact with some weird guys, already, but it's fine. It's just some people just has a bad day, but I don't want to, I don't want them to, cause me to have a bad day, I guess, and say
That's right.
we shot.
I don't get shot.
No, I've really been more scared of dogs, honestly, than I have somebody shoot me.
You have to mark your car,
Yeah, absolutely.
burn your paint.
Yeah.
I think I'd buy some of those things, those magnetic things.
Yeah,
and put
yeah,
on there. I would
yeah.
burn my paint.
Well, I think a constable has to buy their own vehicle. And
I think so.
And I think they have to, get all of that done, of course, like
I
I
don't
said.
know if there's that much money in this.
I don't think so.
I don't think so
No,
either.
no. Into,
Oh.
me going to a lot of the basketball games like Juan and Cleveland, and, I got kids, of course, my baby girl's finna move up to play. I'll be there. I mean, and honestly, I'm not trying to shoot shade at anybody,
Yeah.
but at Cleveland, we don't have nobody. Even at Walnut. There may be, I've maybe seen it maybe 2 or 3 times where a local, law enforcement will come in the gym and hang around, but you don't ever know. I mean,
Not
these
much.
gyms don't have metal detectors, so
Yeah.
anybody can come in these gyms
Well,
and
that's
just,
right.
and,
right.
and shoot. Of course, take
Right.
training for that stuff. Of course, I had a guy ask the other day, "Can you shoot a gun?" Like, I was born in Cleveland, man.
You're raised in country. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I was born in Cleveland.
I didn't even think of that. I assumed you could.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a
I mean-
slingshot with me, I guess.
Well, the
But no.
fact is, I can shoot a gun.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
right.
even
Yeah,
from here.
yeah.
Everybody in Mississippi shoots a gun.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Of all things.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've heard everything.
Oh, I bet you have.
Oh God, it's gonna get worse. I promise you, it's gonna get worse.
Is constable a full-time job?
Well, I think a constable, like I said, the days that you're not at court, I think, you'll be serving papers. But if you don't have, papers to serve, there's going to be days where you probably won't have to do a whole lot. But I'm going to use those days. If there's something at the church needs to be done, I'm going to focus that day. Maybe to cut the grass or take care of my little business, and what my wife knows how to do it, and Chloe knows how to do it. So they'll be able to kind of tie it all in there together now. But it's going to be based on papers, is what I have been told.
I think I talked to the South
Yeah,
Constable
Mr.
several
Bullock.
years
Great
ago.
guy, great guy.
Yes, he is.
Great guy.
When he was running. He said that a lot of it was papers, delivering papers.
It is, yes.
And he said he went to the courthouse,
Mm-hmm.
and he would ask them every day
Right, yeah,
about, if they had papers to
Right.
serve, because that's where you make your money.
right,
Yep.
right.
So
right.
that just makes good sense.
Yeah, it does.
He's a pretty smart guy.
It is. He's a great guy, Mr. Bullock.
Yes, he is. He
I
is.
think a lot of Mr. Bullock.
I do too.
See him at a lot of the ball games too, and Pine Grove. I don't know if they realize this or not, but Pine Grove they don't know what they got down there. He's a great guy. I mean, he
is a good guy.
He's the one I've seen him at ball games hold the cakes up. I think he's the one that auctions that
Oh, he's
off.
always doing something.
Yeah, and that's what he inspired
They're
me.
very community.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be another Keith Bullock. I want to be
He's
in a Dick Hosher, Dick, then
Yep.
Keith,
Keith is
because
good.
great guy, super nice guy. So,
Yes, he is. I remember several years ago there was a shooting at one of the Ripley churches.
yes,
I believe it was. Seemed like it was Church of Christ. I'm not sure.
it was. Yes,
I'm
it
not
was.
sure.
It sure was.
And our constable, in fact, I think it was Keith.
It was.
that
It sure
settled
was.
that.
It was Mr. Keith, and
So I mean, you're really never off duty.
No,
right?
no.
Never
and
exactly
no,
off.
It's not.
Are you prepared to carry a gun?
Yeah, of course, you will have to go, and take classes. Of course, my
Oh yeah.
my
that
cousin,
makes you do
he
all kind of
teaches,
crazy
yeah.
stuff.
My cousin teaches a great class. I think B&B carry, Chad Bateman, you probably know Chad.
Yeah, I know
Chad, he
Chad.
teaches a class, him and his wife, they do a fantastic job. Matter of fact, we've got, even in our church, of course, our bylaws, I can't tell you who they are, but everybody that we've got security, we put them through Brother Chad's class, but nobody will know who they are, but me and my pastor, but because they're concealed, they can't see who they are,
Yeah.
because
Isn't that awful?
yeah, I never thought of the day that we would have to carry a gun in a church house.
Is it?
I
Well,
mean,
I
it's-
think they did when they first started, but since
Sure,
then,
well, yeah,
no.
right, yeah, when,
Yeah.
back on, like I said, my heritage of, like I said, my,
But this is terrible.
yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I believe, and I've told our church this, I believe before the Lord comes back, we're in the last spiritual awakening. What you and we talked about before we got on the air, about Asbury in the
Yes.
Kentucky. That same movement of God is something that we can have. And I have literally, I'm going to be honest with you, I have literally seen Christian people mock that. But let me tell you something. A lot of the times, these Christian people who mocks the Asbury are the churches and the preachers who are jealous because they're not doing enough outreach.
Yeah, but mostly what they say is, I hope it's real.
Well, I mean, it's but like you said, I know, it's crazy.
Well, I myself remember when we had that here.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember when revival went
yes.
on at Blue Mountain
Yeah,
for like 6 weeks.
yeah.
And the people they just wouldn't let them close
That's
it
right.
down.
Yeah.
They were so excited about this revival and so excited
Right.
about worshiping.
That's right. That's exactly
And
right.
that's what they had there.
Yeah,
That's
right.
really what they had there.
That's exactly right. And
Now, they didn't go 24 hours a day,
Right,
but
right.
they went for 6 full weeks. Now, if you do 3 nights, that's long.
Oh, yeah. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I've told our church this. I told them, matter of fact, Sunday, they give me a little time to do a golden nugget, should I say. I told them, like, you guys, before God returns, and we're in the dressing room of the
We are.
of the rapture. We're in rehearsal.
We are.
When
We are.
COVID first happened, now God could just spoke and it had been gone.
Yeah.
But I believe with everything in my heart that God let COVID hang around to see who's going to be real and who's going to be fake. Because the Bible says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray. But we forget the next part, and turn from their wicked ways. We had people during COVID, I'm telling you, we had people in COVID that came to my church. We didn't miss a beat. They tried, they said, well, you can't have church. We brought it outside. Okay? We had church outside. Our instruments, we had people pulling up on their little mules, four-wheelers, and we had people just showing up from everywhere. But we had people come up, they were so scared that God was coming back, and they wanted to be baptized. You know, repent of their sin, be baptized, but then they would never show back up. Because after that little first lifting, you know, everybody kind of get back to normalcy.
They think, well,
I got
it
time.
fixed and I'm okay.
Yeah,
now.
right,
But, you know,
right.
it's not that way.
No, that's right.
It's a every day.
It's a
every day.
24/7, 365. It's a lifestyle. Great word.
Yeah,
But
it's your whole.
yes.
When you're given to Jesus, it's everything.
Oh, it's the
It's
greatest
nothing.
life.
It is, but it's your life. It's a life. It's not.
Right.
It's not a plop in and plop out.
Right. Yeah, he's not microwavable, should I say.
That's right.
You know,
You're
and
right.
like I said, we have people praying. In 2020, we had people pray that probably ain't prayed in years. When we had people humble themselves, but we didn't have nobody turning away.
You know, when COVID came, I remember I looked up in Revelation about
Yeah.
the vials that were.
Yes,
I
the
thought,
7 vials. Oh,
Sure
yes.
sounded like it.
Woo! Yes.
It
yes.
sure sounded like it to me. I said, all right, Lord, if you come and get me now.
Yeah,
Just go ahead, get me now.
And it's going to get worse. I truly
Yes,
believe
it
it.
is.
And I told the church that's why the Bible says to hide the word in our hearts. Because I believe there's going to become a day right before God comes back. A lot of people may disagree with me, but I believe that we're going to literally have to fight our way inside the church house.
I do too.
I really do believe that.
I do.
But we've got to, you know, they can take the physical Bible out of our hands, but they can't take it out of the heart.
That's right.
And that's what we've got to hide the word in our heart. That way, what we won't easily sin against them. And but it's a great life living for the Lord.
Yes, it is.
Great life.
Yes, it is. I tell you, I just don't know how people manage.
Well,
Don't
they got
have
themselves
Jesus,
food.
I just don't see how they manage.
They got themselves food. It's they just don't. They think this world is going to last forever. This world is not going to last. You know, my grandma Hazel always said, "This whole world's going to stand when this whole world's on fire." And that word of God is going to be here. It don't matter, but we just got to hide it. We just cannot let the word, you know. And
Well, you know, they thought back when Hitler's days,
yeah,
they thought that was the end. And of
Right.
course, I
Right.
thought COVID was.
right.
But the Bible says we don't know when the end's coming.
That's exactly right.
We don't know.
That's exactly
It's
right.
just going to be like,
Yep, blinking of an
Gone
eye.
from here.
Blinking of an eye. Just blink
Yeah,
your
it's-
eyes, and we're gonna be
it'll
gone.
be over.
Yeah, I mean,
Won't
John
have
the
time
Revelator.
to get scared.
That's right, John the Revelator. You know, I've told somebody that I know I'm getting down a rabbit hole.
That's all right.
Man, I hope this broadcast will reach somebody's soul too.
I do too.
And I know it will. But John the Revelator, God gave John the Revelator a vision of what heaven. And you know, John said, I saw streets of gold, walls of jasper, and the gates of pearl, mansion upon mansion. But then we forget what he says, and the half has yet to be told.
That's right.
If the first half don't make us want to go to heaven, I want to go for the second half, just to
That's
see
right.
what John didn't tell us about.
That's right.
You know, so, man, no more pain, no more, you know, our loved ones.
You know, you look back over your lives, and I know watching this, you look back over your life, and you've seen a lot of hard times.
Oh, man.
If you had a great life, you've still seen a lot of hard
Oh,
times.
That's right.
During those times when Jesus is carrying you, and how would you get by without him? I've seen a lot of tragedy in my life,
Right.
and I just don't know how people get by without Jesus.
I know. I you know,
I had
I
a
know, I
young
wonder
lady
that
come
myself.
to me and tell me she just don't believe God's real. She just don't believe God's real. How can you believe that? But when her friend's child got terribly sick,
Right.
Daryl, do you still have a prayer list somewhere? Well, if she didn't believe in God, why'd she want me to pray?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't believe people
Yeah.
really don't believe. I
Yeah.
don't. Maybe they're not ready to live for God.
Right. I agree.
And they think that they're going to have to give up something,
Right.
you know, that they're going to lose something.
Yeah.
When truly, God doesn't take anything from you that's good for you.
Right. That's right.
He
That's good.
protects you from what is not.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And I don't understand why, I just don't know why anybody would want Jesus. I just don't know.
I can't.
I don't get it.
I can't live my life without him. I fail
I
him
don't get it.
every day. But that's why David said, "Create in me, O Lord, a clean heart."
That's right.
That's why the Bible also says that David repented daily. In order to repent daily, we're going to sin daily.
That's right.
And I believe there's some days that we can live above sin. But there's days that I've got to say, God, many days, I'm sorry. God, I failed you, or I haven't thanked you, you know. And I try every day I wake up, I open my eyes, God, thank you for another day, you know. And when my feet hit the floor, I want hell to tremble
That's right.
and say, oh
Me
my
too.
God, he's up another day.
Me too.
You know,
Me
I'm still
too.
standing.
Say, Lord, what are they going to do now?
Yeah, what are they going to do
Yeah.
now? But just,
What's he up to?
yeah, well, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Absolutely,
keep everybody
absolutely.
guessing. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, keep everybody
And
guessing.
I want to do enough for the Lord
Oh, absolutely.
while I'm here,
Oh,
because my time is short.
yeah, yeah,
And you just can't, you know, there's always something that needs doing.
oh, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
there's people that
Oh,
are
absolutely.
lost, there's people that don't know Jesus, there's,
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, there's sick people that you need to go pray for.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And we need to be about the Father's business.
That's right. You know, that's right.
Yeah, we do. And if you get constable,
Yeah.
I had this wonderful job for 4 years. I loved it with
Yes, ma'am.
with a hospice.
Yes, ma'am.
And I love to pray for the sick. Well,
Yeah,
they showed me
yeah.
where they were.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
constable,
Absolutely.
you'll be going to people's homes.
Mm-hmm.
And these people, if somebody's bringing me a subpoena, you better know I need prayer.
Yeah. Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
If you're bringing me divorce papers, you
Right.
better know I need prayer.
That's right, right. Oh, absolutely.
If you're bringing me, you know, maybe they're having a difficulty about land or,
yeah,
or something they
right.
own,
Got behind
they
on some
need
bills.
prayer.
Yes.
They need somebody
They
to
do.
come
Right.
pray.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
An eviction notice.
Yeah,
Now that,
yeah,
wouldn't
that's-
that be the hardest?
Yeah, you know,
That would be the hardest.
and two, probably having to serve a mother or a dad papers, single parent who, you know, got behind by accident on child support. You know, my heart goes out to those people, and you know, that would
That
be
would
something.
be hard.
Yeah, you know, having to take a man or a lady away from their kids. You know, but
Yes.
I hope I don't ever have to face that.
Well, it don't really. You're not the one that.
No,
You're just
no.
delivering the papers.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. And you know,
I pray for the ones that have to.
yeah, you know, and I'll probably bawl my eyes out knowing
I
all the
would
way,
too.
knowing
I
that,
would.
that
That
but,
just. I just don't know.
yeah, but
Some of these jobs, you know, there's an upside, but then there's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
tough side too.
and it's just like, you know, it's like ministry. I mean, honestly, you know, I'm not a sugarcoater. I'm not one to patty cake You know, if it's wrong, it's wrong. You know, but I had a pastor's wife, Sister Gladys Hall. You may remember Gladys
I
Hall.
know Gladys.
And J.C. Hall.
Yes,
If it
I went
wasn't,
up there.
if
I
it
went
was
there a
not
lot.
for, if it was not for J.C. Hall, of course my mom and my daddy, but J.C. Hall, Gladys Hall, and then Brother Clay Hall, you know, moved into the role of the pastor. And Sister Pam Hall. Those were my pastors growing up. And I wouldn't, along with my parents and, you know, the Halls, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. But my Sister Gladys, Sister Gladys always had that gift, and I've always prayed for that gift, that she can correct you and still
Not hurt you.
not hurt you.
feelings.
Because
Yes,
if I was,
absolutely.
you know, I can remember going, you know, to church, and, you know, me being a boy, or, you know, my mom and Sister Hall talked every day, and my mama, you know, probably Sister Hall, I wasn't doing what's right. I can remember Sister Gladys, bless her heart, rest her soul, she would come to me, and at church, if I have a tie on, she'll come to me, she'll, you know, straighten my tie up, and when she done that, I knew I was in trouble. But this is what she would do. She would take her little hand, and she'll say, Bradley, she'll say, it's time to turn over a new leaf. And when she did that, it's like being scolded, but yet wrapped your arms around people. And that's too, you know, with this job, if I'm able to win constable, I want to do that. I want that
Yes.
gift.
Yes.
There's just some people, listen, there's some people that probably made the same mistake that I did when I was growing up. I didn't get caught. They did. And so I want to be able to wrap my arms around them and pat them on the back saying, listen, I'm here to do my job, but I'm also here because I want, you know, you can change. You know, it's not about walking up to somebody's house, say, here's your paper, and then turn around and walk away. I want to know, hey, how can we fix this? What happened? What made you do this? You know, had a chance to witness to a young man in our field house. You know, I helped with our football team that won it. Been there doing it for 15 years. John Meeks and Corey Bennett, great friends of mine. Had a young man in there the other day. We was working out, and he told me he went to jail, and I'm like, what made you go to jail? Well, this and this, and he said, I just lost. I said, how can we fix this? And I began to read into his spirit about how, and he had this hidden hurt, and he just didn't know how to comprehend the hurt and how do we deal with it. And so I got the chance to witness to him there too. But like I said, constable, it's more than serving papers. I mean, it's seeing the people and helping.
I don't believe there's any just, you know, some people say there's no mean kid. I'm not sure there's any just really mean people.
Well, no.
Maybe I just don't know them.
Well, some people hide it a little better than others, I think. But you know,
I mean, I just don't look at anybody and just think,
No.
well, that's just a
that's just a mean person.
mean.
That's right.
And you know, I just don't believe that people are born mean.
No, even Abraham Lincoln said that. I'm a big Abraham Lincoln guy. Honest Abe said this. Abraham Lincoln said, he told this guy, I can't remember in history, he said, I don't like that guy. He said, but I got to get to know him better. You can like a guy, and you may like him when you get to know him.
That's right.
You know, so that's what Abraham Lincoln, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but he said, I don't like that guy. I must get to know him better.
Neat.
I
Yeah,
got to get to know him better, you know.
that's pretty neat.
And that's what it is in this election, you know. And I'm not trying to get crucified in this, but I believe before the people of Tippah County go votes in this election, they don't need to vote for a familiar name.
That's what I used to do when I was young. I
Yeah.
learned better.
Do research on these candidates. Listen, I'll put my number. Call me. I'll tell you. You got any questions? I'll tell you. But we also, I want to win this in an honest race. Okay? And I'm going to say this. If I have to pay somebody to like me, I don't need their support.
No,
Don't want their support.
you're right.
I want somebody that's going to vote me in because they know what type of lifestyle that I live. And I want them to know that this young man will do a good job. And if I don't do a good job, next 4 years,
Vote me out.
vote me out.
That's right.
Yep,
If God tells me to run again.
that makes sense.
You know, so don't vote for So Tippah County, don't vote for a familiar name. Do research.
Yes.
Don't let nobody bribe you. Do research. Go in there and try to call somebody. Do you know so and so? What type of guy are they? But oh well.
I think we're making a stand here today anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's
Absolutely.
what this is for, is where people can get to know you
Yes,
and what kind
absolutely.
of person you
Yes,
are
absolutely.
and what they're voting for.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little about your town where you live.
Cleveland, once again, you believe you out of it. We do have one school there, K through 8th grade. Now they got pre-K. My brother Tim Watson, he actually has bought the service station there, Mr. Bobby and Diane Jackson. Now, Mr. Dale Hold'em has a service station by the school. So back way before my days, Cleveland was a booming little town.
Yeah.
Had their own bank, post office. But my granddaddy Ernest owned Mr. Dale's service station there. My mother and my uncle Randall Wilbanks and her Mary.
I remember Randall.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
uncle. But
Oh.
they slept in the back of the service station. And then, of course, Cleveland's got a Cleveland Springs where I done a little research on that before. I can't remember, but a lot of people came to get that water because of the iron. You know, a lot of people back then, I think, didn't have a lot of iron deficiency. But also, and then we still got a little library. And then right next door to the library, of course, Cleveland Baptist Church, Mr. Jim Jackson and Mr. Douglas and family friends of ours. More like my brother Jim is, and that's the Cleveland Baptist Church there. Been there, 1800.